WWE recently released its list of the 10 greatest SummerSlam matches. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's definitely worth a look. But while those iconic bouts get the spotlight, there are several hidden gems that have slipped under the radar. Maybe they lacked big-name stars, or were simply overshadowed by other main events. But that doesn't mean they lacked heart, drama, or incredible in-ring storytelling. Today, we're diving into 7 underrated and often forgotten SummerSlam matches that deserve a second look. These bouts prove that SummerSlam isn't just about marquee names. It's more about the magic of wrestling at its finest. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Virgil vs. Ted Dibiasi, SummerSlam 1991. When fans talk about SummerSlam classics, Virgil vs. Ted Dibiasi from 1991 doesn't get much attention, but it really should. This was the payoff to one of WWE's most personal and emotional stories at the time, and it was more than just a wrestling match. Virgil had been Dibiasi's faithful bodyguard for years, standing in the background in silence as the haughty million-dollar man flaunted his wealth and looked down on everyone else. The disrespect was constant, so much so that before this match, WWE even showed clips of Virgil massaging Dibiasi's feet, making the humiliation even worse. When Virgil finally stood up for himself in this match, the crowd were ready to applaud him loudly and with pride. The match was for the $1 Million Championship, a belt Dibiasi created for himself after failing to win or buy the WWF Championship. This title was all about Dibiasi's ego, but for Virgil, winning it meant freedom rather than just gold. Every time Virgil delivered a punch or retaliated against Dibiasi's cunning maneuvers, the Madison Square Garden crowd went wild. The ending told the whole story perfectly, as Dibiasi tried to cheat by exposing a turnbuckle. But Virgil turned it around, smashing Dibiasi's head into the steel twice. As the referee woke up, Virgil made the pin, and the crowd exploded with one of the night's loudest cheers. Virgil's win was a rare, pure, feel-good moment in WWE history. Sadly, it often gets forgotten because of bigger names on the card. But for fans who love redemption stories, this is one of SummerSlam's best underdog moments. Diesel vs. Razor Ramon, SummerSlam 1994. Diesel vs. Razor Ramon for the Intercontinental Championship is one of SummerSlam 1994's most underappreciated bouts. The fight, which took place at the brand new United Center in Chicago, had additional star power because of the presence of hometown hero and NFL legend Walter Payton, who was announced as Razor's cornerman. Lasting a little over 15 minutes, the match was a great clash of styles with Diesel's raw power and dominance against Razor's smooth technical skills and clever counters. Their chemistry inside the ring was clear, and the energy never dipped for a second. Diesel's manager at the time, Shawn Michaels, kept the crowd on edge and gave the fight a sense of significance beyond a championship defense by intervening regularly, adding even more drama. When Michaels attempted his signature super kick but instead struck Diesel, the finale unfolded in pure chaos, allowing Razor to take advantage of the situation and win the pin to reclaim the Intercontinental Championship. The Chicago crowd exploded as Walter Payton joined Razor in celebration, making it one of the night's happiest moments. Sadly, this match isn't talked about much today, often overshadowed by the card's iconic Bret vs. Owen Hart steel cage bout and the unusual double Undertaker main event. Even so, Razor vs. Diesel stands out as a forgotten gem, a great showcase of mid-90s WWF storytelling and the spark that kept their rivalry alive for the rest of the year. The Steiner brothers vs. the Heavenly Bodies, SummerSlam 1993. The WWF Tag Team Championship matchup between the Steiner brothers and the Heavenly Bodies at SummerSlam 1993 was a surprise treat for fans. Taking place at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Michigan, the match had extra emotion as Scott and Rick Steiner were defending the titles in their home state, making the crowd firmly cheer for them. The Heavenly Bodies, managed by Jim Cornette, came from Smoky Mountain Wrestling as part of an interpromotional deal, marking their WWF pay-per-view debut and offering something unique to the event. The tone was immediately chaotic as the Heavenly Bodies attacked the champs before the bells sounded. They worked well together, keeping Rick Steiner down early with double-team moves. Momentum briefly changed when Scott tagged in, but the Bodies and Cornette took control again, with Cornette hitting Scott's throat sneakily using his famous tennis racket. The action stayed quick and intense, blending Southern tag team tactics with the Steiners' raw power. The audience was kept on the edge of their seats by near falls and quick reversals. The finish came when Jim Jimmy Del Rey accidentally knocked out his own partner Tom Pritchard with a moonsault, giving Scott the perfect opening to hit his famous Frankensteiner. Rick then sealed the deal with the pin, sending the Michigan crowd into a huge, joyful celebration. This encounter is one of the greatest displays of pure tag team wrestling in SummerSlam history, despite occasionally being disregarded in favor of other matches on the card. Because of its incredible combination of athleticism, narrative, and hometown fervor, it is still considered a must-see classic. Alandre Blaze vs. Bull Nakano, SummerSlam, 1994. SummerSlam 1994 delivered a hidden gem when Alandre Blaze defended the recently revived WWF Women's Championship against Bull Nakano. Blaze, also known as Medusa in WCW, was already well established as the face of the new women's division, and the title had only returned earlier that year after being dormant since 1990. To finally overthrow the champion, her longtime rival Luna Vachon brought in Nakano, a strong Japanese wrestler. The hype promised chaos, and the match absolutely delivered. Bull Nakano's wild look and powerhouse offense were the perfect opposite to Alandre Blaze's speed and clean technique. Right from the opening bell, the action was non-stop, with Nakano pulling out a crushing sight-out powerbomb to counter one of Blaze's Hurricane Ranas and locking in creative submissions the WWF crowd had barely seen before. The Chicago crowd booed loudly as Luna's persistent meddling at ringside increased drama and stacked the odds against Blaze. Late in the match, Nakano climbed to the top rope for a diving leg drop, but Blaze rolled away at the last second. Seizing the moment, Blaze delivered a flawless bridging German suplex to score the 3 count and retain her title. The win cemented Blaze's dominance and kept her heated rivalry with Luna alive heading into future matches. Though overshadowed by bigger bouts on the 1994 SummerSlam card, this match proved how thrilling women's wrestling could be long before the Women's Revolution era. Hakushi vs. 1-2-3 Kid, SummerSlam, 1995. Hakushi vs. the 1-2-3 Kid was a bout that many people didn't anticipate much from, but that ended up shocking everyone at SummerSlam, 1995. With high-flying maneuvers and fluid technical wrestling that were uncommon in the WWF at the time, particularly in an opening bout, this fast-paced opener, which lasted just under 10 minutes, provided uninterrupted action. Each wrestler contributed something unique. Hakushi's distinctive appearance and combination of acrobatic maneuvers and martial arts attacks made him stand out, while the 1-2-3 Kid, later known as X-Pac, played the role of the quintessential underdog who was quick, tenacious, and constantly fighting from below. The Pittsburgh crowd immediately became involved in the contest as their styles contrasted brilliantly. Highlights of the fight included fluid counters, dives off the top rope, and lightning-quick reversals that kept fans guessing. It was made even greater by its simplicity, just 2 eager rivals vying for supremacy on a large platform, with no outside intervention or cheesy tactics. That pure approach is a big reason fans still look back on it fondly today. Even though the match was short, it set the tone for the rest of the night and hinted that cruiserweight-style wrestling could shine in the WWF long before it became common. While it ended up overshadowed by the Diesel vs. King Mabel main event and the Shawn Michaels vs. Razor Ramon ladder rematch, Hakushi vs. 1-2-3 Kid remains one of SummerSlam's most refreshing openers, a forgotten gem that showed how exciting smaller matches could be in the mid-90s. Edge vs. Lance Storm, SummerSlam 2001. In San Jose, California, SummerSlam 2001 began with a technical showcase for the Intercontinental Championship between Edge and Lance Storm. The match, which was set during the intense WWF vs. Alliance plot, combined brand warfare with personal stakes to give fans an exciting start that established the tone for the evening. The story within the ring was straightforward but layered. Storm used his trademark precision, systematically attacking Edge's legs and ribs with sharp kicks and grinding holds to slow the challenger's explosive offense. Edge fought back with his signature grit, using quick counters and high-impact moves that had the San Jose crowd squarely behind him. Christian's involvement late in the game marked a turning moment. Storm's alliance ally wasn't present, so Christian's appearance, seemingly to help Edge, added sudden chaos. Christian tried to spear Storm but failed, accidentally leveling Edge instead. Storm took advantage right away, hitting Christian with a super kick and attempting to pin Edge, but Edge kicked out in a spectacular near fall. The moment fueled Edge's comeback, and seconds later he used the Edgecution to secure the victory and claim the Intercontinental Championship. Edge, who had just won one of the biggest singles victories of his career, was both happy and moved when Christian embraced him as the crowd erupted after the bell. Even though Austin vs. Angle took center stage later that evening, this opening is still remembered for its nuanced storyline, pure wrestling chemistry, and glimpse of the greatness that both men were meant to be. Stone Cold Steve Austin vs. Kurt Angle, SummerSlam 2001. Stone Cold Steve Austin defended against Kurt Angle in one of the most brutal WWE Championship fights ever at SummerSlam 2001. Lasting just over 22 minutes, the bout was intense and dramatic, showcasing both men at their absolute peak. The match, which lasted little over 22 minutes, was thrilling and furious, showcasing both guys at their finest. Set during the high-stakes WWF versus Alliance storyline, every moment felt urgent. Austin, now a deranged heel leading the Alliance, fought as dirty as possible with wild brawls, cheap shots, and non-stop attacks on Angle's injured neck. Angle, the patriotic hero, kept answering back with suplex after suplex and repeated ankle locks, refusing to quit no matter how much pain he was in. The San Jose crowd erupted when Angle was busted open, his face covered in blood, a moment that made the drama even more powerful. There were several referee knockouts and heart-stopping near falls during the chaotic yet captivating fight. Angle survived several stunners, kept fighting back, and had the fans fully behind him. The ending left fans divided, as Austin purposely got himself disqualified by attacking the referees, holding on to the title but angering the crowd. Despite the controversial finish, this match is remembered as the night Kurt Angle showed he truly belonged at the very top of WWE. He showed he could stand toe-to-toe with Stone Cold and carry the company as a main event star. While it's often overshadowed by other SummerSlam classics, Austin vs. Angle remains a brilliant mix of storytelling and physicality, a defining clash of the Invasion era that still holds up over 2 decades later. Marvelous verdict. And there you have it, 7 forgotten SummerSlam matches that remind us why WWE's biggest party of the summer has always been packed with hidden gems. From Virgil's emotional win over Ted Dibiasi to Kurt Angle's crimson-masked war with Stone Cold Steve Austin, these bouts prove that even away from the main event spotlight, some of the most heartfelt and intense moments in wrestling history were born at SummerSlam. With SummerSlam 2025 just around the corner, headlined by the highly anticipated Cody Rhodes vs. John Cena street fight for the WWE Championship, the excitement is at an all-time high. What's your favorite underrated SummerSlam match? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more wrestling deep dives.